Okay, here's part two of UFC Fight Night 22 post-fight analysis. The master of Thug Jitsu, Eve Edwards, beat John Gunderson. Good win by Edwards. It's hard not to be a fan of one of the very first top. He was one of the first top lightweights. I mean, he's not there now. He's more of a mid-tier guy. But, he was the uncrowned lightweight champion. It's pretty cool. Gunderson, he's out of the UFC now, actually. Don't really know where he's going to go. But, really cool to see Eve get some wins. I can't imagine him doing that well against a lot of the wrestlers in the division. But, it's just really cool. I know that Eve is doing more of a counter-striking. And he's always been like that, though. Like a more counter-striking style. He shows a lot of veteran savvy these days, though, It seems like he knows when to take a guy down. He'll stay in a guy's half guard, stay active enough to not get a stand-up, So, I'm really, with a lot of guys, when they become veterans, there's something different about him. It's really nice with Edwards, because I always feel that he's always... right now, he's really established himself as that veteran, So it's really cool. There's a lot of fights for him. I know, Thiago Tavares is gonna fight pretty soon against Aldenwood. Winner of that can get Eva Edwards or someone like that. Just somewhere someone in the mid tier or someone in the lower tier. It'd be really cool to see Eve back into a Spike, the free Spike prelims or something like that. I'd like to see him on something televised. It'd be really cool. I'm a big fan of Eve Edwards, so this guy when his highlight reel kick on Josh Thompson was from behind. It was one of the coolest things ever. So big fan of the master of Thug Jitsu, Eve Edwards. So let's get on to the main card now. Cole Miller beat Ross the Real Deal Pearson by rear naked choke. I was very impressed with one thing with Cole that really impressed me is he did straight punches. And I can't really stress enough for a tall guy to do straight punches. It is really refreshing to see. He didn't go for too many sloppy hooks or anything. I mean, the finishing sequence had him doing some jump kick that I don't even know if it connected. But then, he did a flurry, cut him with a left, sunk the rear naked choke right away. Pearson was doing really well with the leg kicks, but I don't think he can really find his range. Cole Miller was actually using his range really well. Like I said, through the straight punches. So I was really impressed with that. Cole's one of those weird ones because he'll make some leaps and then he'll lose. And then he'll make some leaps and then he'll lose, He lost against Efrain Escudero, He's beat Lozon. Now he's beat Pearson. Big wins, So it's really tough to say where do you put the guy exactly. Maybe you can give him the loser or the winner of Joe Lozon, George Salteropoulos. I think he's fought Lozon before actually. Or that's Dan. I don't know about Joe, but that would be pretty cool. Jim Miller needs someone to fight right now, or maybe you can give him T-Bow or something. Cole Miller, there's some good fights for him. And he's improving too. I'm really glad he's improving. When I spar, I like to do a lot of straight punches. I really like to use jabs. So it's just really refreshing to see a tall guy use straight punches and keep a guy away, so that Ross Pearson has to resort to doing leg kicks because he can't really reach in too much. He can't really get in with his hands because this guy's doing straight punches. So it's just kind of nice, to see some semblance of strategy or whatnot from Cole Miller. Ross Pearson's he's a good fighter. I was really surprised to see him get knocked down. Defensively, he's really good. Defensively, he's actually pretty hard to hit clean. So, I'm guessing he can't really handle the range too well of Miller. I expected Pearson to win, actually. Happy that Cole won, to be perfectly honest. I'm a fan of Cole Miller, so saying, Pearson, he's gonna get another shot. He's a good fighter, I don't know who you can really give him. Maybe the loser of Nick Lentz versus Tyson Griffin. Loser of Aldenwood versus Thiago Tavares. Maybe the loser of Jeremy Stevens versus Melvin Gillard, but I think that might actually be pretty high for him. So you can give him something like that. There's a lot of good fights for him. He's coming up. You can give him Rafael Dos Anjos would be an interesting fight versus Ross Pearson. Someone brought up Mac Danzig or Matt Wyman. That'd be pretty good for the real deal. So, yeah. Next fight after that was Jim Miller beating Gleason T by unanimous decision. I picked Jim Miller to win. I'm glad he did. He's such a workman-like fighter, and I always liked Jim Miller. I like the Miller brothers. Dan and Jim are both really good. They're very solid fighters, very workman. They're very blue-collar type fighters. Tough as nails, fight anyone, anytime, anywhere. I mean, these guys have taken a lot of fights on short notice. It's not uncommon for them. Great lefts from Jim Miller. He's just finding left hands on T-Bell's face a lot. I thought T-Bell was, his takedowns were good. Miller would just get back. Man, I mean, T-Bell must have been really afraid of Miller's ground because, seriously, the minute, Miller would, try a rubber guard, he'd, just get up or, the minute Miller would, even attempt a triangle choke from his back, it's T-Bell would just, get up or something. So I don't know if, T-Bell was, that scared of Jim Miller's ground game from his back. I was really surprised about that, actually. T-Bell's stand-up needs a lot of work. He knows this, too. But he's still throwing these, overhands and stuff like that. He's a big guy. This guy has some big power. If he had some actual crisp boxing or so, or crisp kickboxing, this guy can knock people out pretty bad. He just doesn't. The technique's not there yet for him. There's some good fights for him. He can get Ross Pearson or something. T-Bell can, or Danzig or Wyman or Bocek or something like that. I know Dustin Hazlett's coming back to the division. Maybe give him Dustin Hazlett versus T-Bell. That'd be pretty interesting. Miller, I think it's time. I know when he went up to fight top competition like Ray Maynard or I think he fought Frankie Edgar. I'm not too sure. He's actually fallen short, but I think he should get someone up there. Give him a Gomi, give him a Clay Guida, give him someone pretty high up there. I think it's time. He's deserved it. He's won a lot of fights in the octagon. And he's a really good fighter, and he's recognized as such too. He's recognized as a very solid fighter. Some things do need some work, but he's a little above average with everything. His jiu-jitsu's really good. His wrestling's really good, actually. I mean, he didn't show against Bocek, but it is actually really good. His striking is actually a little above average, I feel. Very workmanlike, good pace, good what, he definitely is a good fighter. Okay, the co-main event of the evening was Charles Oliveira beating Efrain Escudero by rear naked choke. Man, I mean, Efrain Escudero, he got cut by the UFC after this fight. He missed weight during this fight, and he just didn't look very good, for one. He was stalling against a cage a couple times. But, man, Oliveira, man, I was emulating some of the stuff in sparring. His 1-2 outside leg kick, that was, super fast. Man, I was hitting that on, everyone in my class the other day. It's so cool. I was like, oh, my God, this technique works, because everyone's paying attention to the head, and they're wanting to block it at times, too. All of a sudden, you hit the leg, because guess what? They're paying attention to the top, and they're not paying attention to the legs or the body, even, This guy, man, he'd throw, flying knees. He'd throw, jump kicks, The thing is, man, he's reckless, man. I know someone's just going to take advantage of Oliveira's recklessness. The thing is, he's so dangerous. It's okay, if you can't really find a pattern in his stand-up, you take him down. Oh, but wait, he's just really great jiu-jitsu guy, too. So it's kind of what world do you want to take Oliveira? And the kid's already 20 years old, It's this kid's amazing, I don't know how else to say it. he's just really good. He's really fast reflexes. You know, he does a leg kick, blocks just like Joe Rogan said. You know, his wrestling's pretty good too. You know, I mean, man, it is fun. The final sequence of him, bringing Ephraim, shooting Ephraim against a cage, using the bounce from the cage, just do like a pro wrestling style T-bone suplex, and then there's a scramble. Ephraim gets up. Olivia jumps on his back and sinks into rear naked choke standing. You know, while Ephraim's standing. It was just like this was like one of the coolest sequence finishes I've seen in a while. So it was pretty cool. And the main event of the night was Nate Marquardt versus Husmar Palhares. Nate Marquardt beat Husmar by TKO. Man, I don't know what Palhares was thinking of, like, wanting to complain in the middle of the fight. You know, it's like, hey, ref, you know, he's greasy. Boom. It's like, come on, bro. You're in the middle of the fight. You don't do it between rounds or something. I don't know, but don't start complaining when this guy wants to, like, knock your head off. You know, tough to say. You know, with leg locks, it's tough to say. You know, Nate said that, you know, he was really, you know, he made himself sweaty for a reason, because I've done leg locks, and knowing him, once you have it underneath the armpit, it is actually pretty hard to slip out. I'm not gonna accuse Marquardt of greasing or anything. I don't think he did. But Usmar's done that move so many times. He's probably just like, wow, how can anyone? You know, the only people that's actually escaped my leg locks grease or something. You know, so it's just one of those things. He's smart, man. This guy can't get the brass ring. You know, I don't know what to say. He lost to Henderson. He lost to Marquardt. You know, I mean, he's a good fighter. He's a really good fighter. I mean, his slams are vicious. His ground game's really good, too. His stand-up's not very good. Granted, he's a really short guy. He's like one of the shortest middleweights. He's the shortest middleweight in the division. So, you know, he's always going to be at a disadvantage in the stand-up anyways. So, there's still good fights for him, you know. If you want to give him, like, Rafael Natal or something like that, or, there's a lot of middleweight fights here, you know. Maybe you can use Husmar to promote, like, Court McGee or something. But I still think Husmar should fight near the top of the division still, around the mids. Maybe, like, I think Sakara versus Rivera, they're fighting each other. Maybe them. Someone well known. Marquardt, he's getting Yushin Okami in the main event of UFC 123, which is a good fight. So, and that's the number one contender. That's definitely where I would place Marquardt as well. Just definitely in the road to contendership. So that's it with my UFC Fight Night 22 post-fight analysis. Please leave any comments on the bottom, or you can email me at thecndchannel@gmail.com. And yeah, I'm also gonna have UFC 119 post-fight analysis on Tuesday. So come back for that. Thank you guys.